The stench hit first, sharp, sour, unmistakable. Even through sealed crates, the smell of spoiled protein slurry was impossible to ignore. Sergeant Eli Ward winced as he pried open the container. A rush of corrupted steam hissed upward, releasing months' worth of synthetic rations turned into sludge. The cryopack's failsafe had shorted, likely during the solar flare 2 nights ago. Every box was the same, bloated, leaking, inedible. Confirmed, chirped the logistics drone beside him. Total spoilage. 100% degradation. The silence that followed on the field deck of Survey Station 9 was dense. 12 crew members, all from different coalition species, stared at the broken supplies like they'd just been told the ship was falling apart. In a way, it was worse. Commander Vrel Tiersane stepped forward. Tall, insectal, and silver-chitined, the Kellery scientist didn't bother to mask his disgust. "This is catastrophic," he hissed, mandibles clicking. "Our primary caloric intake was designed to last 14 cycles. This isn't failure. This is extinction." Eli knelt beside the ruined packs and poked one with a knife tip. "Looks like Jell-O left in a sunspot." "Jell-O?" repeated Vrel, antennae twitching. "Never mind," Eli muttered. "Just a Terran thing." Vrel ignored him. "Our backup nutrient tablets are rated for emergency use only. 3 per crew member per day, for 5 days maximum. Beyond that, we wait," said a violet-scaled Lekkery medic. "Pickup is in 6 days." A Trask technician, pale and feathered, squawked nervously. "We'll never make it. The temperature flux alone." "Silence," Vrel snapped. "We will maintain order and minimize exertion. No unverified foraging. No consumption of local organics. Is that understood?" Heads nodded. Reluctantly, Eli stayed crouched by the crates, eyes scanning the tree-line just beyond the camp's perimeter. The planet, Verdani's 9, was lush, a riot of color and scent. He could already see at least 3 kinds of root growth, one with bright purple fronds that mimicked dandelions. He stood, brushed off his knees, and slung his field pack over his shoulder. "Where do you think you're going?" Vrel barked. "Out for a walk," Eli said casually. "Might as well see what's out there." The commander's voice rose. "Absolutely not. We stay inside the perimeter. This environment is untested, possibly toxic." Eli met his gaze with a look that said he didn't care much for hypotheticals. "Tested or not, we still gotta eat." Before Vrel could respond, Eli stepped through the outer gate and disappeared into the green. The forest was alive. Not hostile, not welcoming, just there. Pulsing. Breathing. Eli moved slow, eyes scanning for danger, but more importantly for food. He wasn't reckless. He was methodical. Survival training back on Earth taught him to trust signs, patterns, and small cues, the things scanners often missed. Verdani's had its own language, the way bugs clustered around a root, or how certain plants bent toward shade instead of sun. One stalk in particular caught his attention, blue-green, fat as his wrist, sweating droplets that glowed faintly in shadow. He sliced the stalk near its base, sniffed. Smelled like cucumber and aloe. He scratched the surface with a thumbnail and dabbed it to his tongue. Nothing burned. No numbness. No metallic aftertaste. He chewed the edge. Crunchy. Slightly bitter. Not bad. Eli grinned. 20 minutes later he strolled back into camp with a bundle of roots slung over his shoulder. Everyone stared. The Lekkery medic whispered. "He went out there without armor?" The Trask technician hissed. "He's carrying plants." Vrel stepped forward, incredulous. "You've consumed alien flora without analysis?" Eli dropped the bundle at Vrel's feet, took a bite of the blue stalk, and chewed slowly. "Tastes better than the protein bars, honestly. You're welcome to try." "You fool," Vrel spat. "You have no idea what biochemical reactions could be underway inside you. Hemorrhagic toxicity, protein chain collapse, neurological failure." Eli shrugged. "Or fiber. Minerals. Electrolytes." A pause. The Kellery's mandibles clicked once. When you collapse, don't expect medical intervention. Eli nodded. Wouldn't dream of it. He wandered over to the heat coil and began roasting a thick root over the open thermal unit. It smelled like garlic and sweet dirt. No one moved. By nightfall, hunger had sunk its claws in. The remaining nutrient tablets were rationed to the decimal. Crew members sat in silence, chewing compressed squares of tasteless emergency gel. Eli, in contrast, leaned against a crate, slicing thin pieces of roasted tuber onto a metal tray. He didn't offer. He didn't need to. The scent did the talking. A slender being named Yara, a Vaxi, bioanalysis officer, edged closer. That doesn't smell dangerous. Eli glanced at her. It's not. May I observe a sample? You want a bite? Yara hesitated. For science. He held out a piece. She took it, sniffed, licked, then swallowed. Her eyes widened. This is edible. No kidding, Eli muttered. From the corner of his eye, he saw Vrel watching. The commander's face was unreadable, but his posture was taut. Threatened. Let him feel it. Just before lights out, the Trask technician collapsed. No injuries. Just sheer caloric deficiency. Medical scans confirmed electrolyte imbalance, fatigue, borderline organ strain. Vrel stood over the unconscious form, fists clenched. This shouldn't be happening. The tablets should sustain basic functions. Eli walked up behind him, munching on another stalk. Maybe next time, you let someone eat a salad. Vrel spun. This is your fault. How? You've introduced contamination. You've destabilized protocol. Eli met his gaze, calm and unwavering. I've eaten 3 different plants, walked 2 clicks through wild terrain, and I'm the only one on this rock getting stronger. Vrel didn't reply. Eli dropped a root beside the med station. Next time you think pride matters more than eating, remember this guy. That night, Eli sat alone under the stars, knife in one hand, root in the other. The others slept fitfully. He didn't. He watched the tree line. He listened to the wind. And he smiled. Because on Earth, they called him odd for learning to cook insects. Out here, it made him indispensable. By the 3rd day, the hunger gnawed louder than orders. The emergency rations were gone, dosed out by decimal weight, absorbed too fast, with nothing left to buffer the body. Even the strictest species, like the Kellery, began showing signs of metabolic downturn. Limbs moved slower. Voices dulled. Vrel's antennae drooped when he thought no one noticed. Only Eli still moved with ease. He crouched at the edge of camp, a machete in one hand, scraping the bark off a thick brown root. Beside him sat a pile of fines, 2 varieties of local tubers, 1 frond-stemmed plant with a tangy citrus smell, and something he swore was a 6-legged crab, except it had green blood and screamed when boiled. He sliced the tuber into thin pieces and tossed them onto the heated plate. Sizzle. Steam. Garlic and pepper scents drifted on the wind. The crew watched like dogs at a fence. Yara broke first. She stepped forward, eyes on the pan, and asked quietly, Any more of that garlic one? Eli looked up. You sure? She nodded. Your scans show no tox markers. And I slept better after eating it yesterday. He handed her a cooked piece. No ceremony, no speech. She popped it into her mouth. The others inched closer. Quietly. As if pretending they weren't doing exactly what they were doing. A Lekri engineer, Cryan, small, blue-scaled, typically aloof, cleared his throat. Those round ones. Bitter or sweet? Sweet, Eli said. Flesh is dense. High starch, lots of calories. Tastes like a burnt carrot. Want some? Cryan hesitated. Then, yes. By midday, half the crew had accepted at least a bite. One of the Avaxi even offered notes on taste variation versus color ripeness. Eli didn't laugh, but he smirked. Vrel, however, did not move from the med tent. That night, another storm rolled in. The lowlands flooded fast, sheets of rain hissing down in vertical walls. The habitat modules held, but the sensor suite blinked out. Radiation interference, signal noise. Bioscanners died. Environmental monitors too. The fancy equipment didn't like getting wet. Eli, on the other hand, was skinning a rat-shaped creature under an improvised tarp, humming tunelessly. Vrel appeared, soaked, eyes furious. "This is a disgrace," he spat. "I found one of your edible roots buried near the latrine." "Yeah," Eli replied. "That one's toxic raw. Leaches into soil. Buries itself when exposed to light. I call it a lyre root." "You named it?" "Sure did," Vrel hissed. "You are inventing nomenclature, cooking wild animals, and encouraging unverified consumption without scientific documentation." Eli stood, expression flat. "Every species here has dropped weight. Heart rates are low. You've got at least 2 crew with early signs of organ stress. Meanwhile, the ones eating? Blood sugar normalizing. Vitals stabilizing. So you tell me, Commander, are we documenting a planetary ecosystem, or trying to stay alive long enough to report on one?" Vrel's mandibles twitched. "This is not a wilderness survival exercise. It is now." The next morning, the storm was gone, but Vrel's pride wasn't. He marched out at dawn with a sample scanner and found a vibrant, egg-shaped fruit growing from a wide-leaf tree. It pulsed faintly with bioluminescence. Gorgeous. Tempting. He brought it back, sliced it cleanly, and declared, "This is structurally similar to a Terran melon. I see no hostile enzyme indicators." Eli raised an eyebrow. "That fruit bleeds when you cut it. It's pigment-rich sap. It screamed when I stepped on one yesterday." Vrel ignored him. Took a bite. The crew froze. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then Vrel dropped to one knee, clutching his gut, retching so hard his chest convulsed. A purple foam oozed from his mandibles. His vision blurred. His secondary limbs trembled violently. Eli didn't speak. He knelt beside him, forced 2 stabilizing tablets down his throat, and stayed there until the convulsions stopped. "I cataloged that fruit yesterday," Eli said quietly. "Locals don't go near it. I left a red mark on the bark to warn myself. You wiped it off." Vrel didn't respond. The crew grew quiet that evening. No one doubted who was in charge of their survival now, not officially, but functionally. Eli roasted a cluster of protein-rich beetles and passed portions to those willing. He noted preferences, watched for allergic reactions, kept precise notes in his own crude log. By nightfall, even the Trask had stopped asking for clearance. Yara sat beside him, eating slowly. "He's losing them," she said. "He lost them the moment he chose pride over food. Will you take command?" Eli shook his head. "Not my place. I'm just here to keep us breathing. But you are leading. I'm feeding. If someone else had figured it out first, I'd be happily chewing behind them." She looked at him, unreadable. "Why didn't you push harder? Force the issue?" Eli flicked a beetle leg into the fire. "Because humans don't lead by force. Not the smart ones, anyway. We just survive until everyone else follows." Later that night, Eli walked the camp perimeter with a torch. The stars were sharp above, constellations unfamiliar. A creature howled in the distance, deep and mechanical, like grinding stone. He didn't flinch. He just adjusted the grip on his knife. By dawn on the 6th day, the shift was no longer subtle. The crew no longer waited for Vrel's permission. They came directly to Eli. Quietly at first, then openly. Cryan brought him mushrooms, unsure if they were safe. Yara asked about salting root slices. Even the Trask offered to help construct a proper drying rack for meat preservation. Eli didn't ask for control. He simply worked, and they followed. He marked trees, tagged plants, shared what he knew. The crew watched him, mimicked him. They began calling unfamiliar roots by the names he gave them. Lyre root, sour torch, ghost pepperweed. The lexicon spread faster than protocol ever had. Even Vrel noticed. He stood at the edge of the gathering that morning, arms folded, gaunt from vomiting and days without eating. Pride still wrapped around him like armor, but it was cracked. Eli saw him and nodded, offering a chunk of roasted stem. Vrel hesitated. Then took it. One bite, slow. Chewed. Swallowed. No reaction. Just hunger. That afternoon, the heat spiked. Clouds boiled above the trees, and thunder shook the soil. It wasn't a passing storm this time, it was a wall. A planet-sized tantrum. Eli squinted at the sky. We stay here, we drown. The modules are anchored, Yara said. We'll be submerged, not destroyed. We'll also be buried under 3 feet of water and cut off from foraging for days. We'll starve. Eli turned to the crew. The ridge forest sits 12 meters higher. Tree canopies dense. Less wind. Better drainage. We can relocate before the first wall hits. Vrel stepped forward. We cannot abandon the equipment. This data is priceless. Eli didn't raise his voice. There won't be a crew left to analyze it. I am still mission lead. No one's stopping you, Eli said calmly. You're free to stay. The crew looked at Vrel. Then followed Eli. They worked fast, tearing down essentials, strapping field packs, loading dried food, seed samples, and basic med gear. Within 2 hours they were moving. Up the slope, through thick underbrush and muddy inclines, they climbed. Vrel trailed them, silent. By the time the rain began, sharp and cold and endless, they'd strung a temporary shelter from thermal sheeting and vines. Fires sparked beneath slanted overhangs. The crew huddled together, steam rising off bodies as they passed dried slices of mushroom, roasted beetle legs, and soft stock stew. No one asked Eli for permission. They simply watched him, listened, and learned. Later, Vrel approached. His posture was less rigid, eyes darker. You've assumed control of the mission. Eli looked at him, expression unreadable. I kept people alive. They followed. I misjudged, Vrel said. I dismissed empirical evidence in favor of protocol. You did what you were trained to do. It wasn't enough. Eli didn't answer. He just handed him a strip of salted meat. Vrel took it. Ate slowly. I should step down, Vrel said quietly. Eli shook his head. You have knowledge I don't. Use it. Help catalog what we found. Build something from this. We'll file your report together. Vrel blinked. You would still include me? I'm not here for rank. I'm here so no one dies. The alien exhaled, a strange hiss whistle Eli had never heard. Not quite relief. Not quite sorrow. Just release. The storm lasted 18 hours. They weathered it with fire, food, and quiet grit. On the 7th day, the extraction ship arrived. The rescue team found 12 tired but alert crew members. Blood pressure normal. Vitals stable. Minimal loss of mass. They found charts, handwritten by Eli, mapping safe flora, cataloging digestive impacts, nutritional values, taste profiles. They found Vrel's report, updated in his own hand. Survival achieved not through coalition methods, but through human adaptability. Recommend inclusion of Terran survivalists on all deep field teams. At the debriefing station orbiting Verdani's 9, the coalition review board was stunned. You mean? One of the auditors said, flipping through the rough pages. He just ate things? Vrel nodded. With observation, caution, and uncanny instinct. He risked his life. He understood risk. But more than that, he read the world around him, better than any sensor could. Eli didn't attend the review. He was back in the field, kneeling by a plant with spiral leaves and a strange, minty scent. He sliced it. Sniffed. Chewed. He smiled. Out here, instinct mattered. Not just to survive, but to teach others how. In this universe,